Namaste guys, and welcome to another video of mine with a different background. So I'm here with a tea. It's not exactly chai because it doesn't have milk, and I just don't consider tea without milk as chai, even though it's called chai in other languages too. But however, so I got my tea and I got some snacks. So this video is probably gonna take some more time, so feel relaxed, get yourself a cup of tea, get yourself some snacks. By the way, this is Bombay mix. This video is going to be comparing going to India as a tourist versus living in India and really being, a citizen there, kind of. I can totally understand both perspectives because I have traveled to India 6 times, out of which you could say 4 times were me being a tourist and 2 times were me actually living in the country, which really made a huge difference, and I would have not expected that when I was a tourist. So let's get started. I would say as a tourist, I had a lot of fun always. Like, my trips were all mind-blowing, and just sit on a scooty, go anywhere you want, stay in different hotels or stay in apartments or stay with friends or stay with families whom you know. So all of the trips I only had good experiences. I never made any bad experiences. I mean, a few probably, but I didn't really consider them like bad experiences, right? What I want to say is, as a tourist, you can stay where you want to. You stay wherever you feel comfortable. And now comes the other point of me actually living in India. And that was a difference because, of course, I came there with an organization. And I did not have the freedom to decide where I would like to live because they put me into my different host families. I know what I'm talking about, what it means to live somewhere, like a place that you have not decided to live in, but someone has decided it for you. And you have to get used to the traditions, you have to get used to how the family lives, you have to get used to their schedule, basically, to their lifestyle. So as a tourist, I was also always allowed to eat whatever I would want to, right? I could have Western food if I want to, I can have Indian food if I would like to, I can just not eat for days if I feel pukish or I'm not well. But when I was living in India, I was staying with families, and yes, there were times where I could not decide on my own what I would like to eat. And please don't get me wrong, this should not sound like as if I'm some pampered brat or something, but I love to cook my own food. And for me, it is a privilege to cook my own food, actually. Now I've realized that it is a privilege to cook what you like, the spices you prefer, and not what someone else has cooked for you. I love Indian food, no doubt, and I so appreciate it if, so many families have cooked awesome food for me and extremely delicious, but sometimes you just need what you prefer in that moment, like the spices you're used to. And also not forgetting that after all, I'm German. Yes, I am used to Indian food, but we have an entirely different meal structure. Like, our breakfast is so mild and it's not heavy. German breakfast contains oats, contains buns, contains fruits, orange juice. We would not eat rice for breakfast or idli. I like eating that, but for me it was just really hard to eat that for breakfast. As a foreigner, you might experience people looking at you, right? They're gonna click pictures, they're gonna ask you, they probably want to touch your skin. As a tourist, you see all of this from a different perspective. It's nice to enjoy that attention for 2 weeks. For some people it really is. For me, it was always super awkward that people break it down to a skin color and see you as something really special. I felt that was just not right, and I didn't want to support it either. If you travel to India for just 2 weeks, you might see it as a surprise. You don't really think much about it. But living in the country, trust me, this can be a pain in the... Really, like, people just wanting to take so many pictures of you and keep on asking you, and you always feel like, I'm not a tourist here, I live here. And this is also why I started learning a bit of Kannada, because it would really help me. And it will also shock people's stereotypes that all white people here are either American or Russian or some tourists at the end of the day. And no, I'm German. When I was there as a tourist, I have a lot of lovely friends there and a lot of really amazing families, and I know that they always wanted my security and they wanted to protect me and they wanted to make sure that I have a safe trip. I totally get that, and I would never say anything bad against it, never. But for me it was also a weird feeling that sometimes I would just want to go to the other side of the road and just drink an orange juice, and then my friends would come running after me. Where are you going? Where are you going? And you can't just cross the street like that. I get it because they did it out of care. But when I was living in India, I felt more freedom because I could cross any road that I wanted to. I could, you know, go wherever I want to. So that made me feel more independent, and it made me feel more strong, and as if I don't have to be scared. And I always felt in that tourist role, I was really always afraid, like, oh my god, what if I go somewhere on my own? That made me feel insecure. Of course, as a tourist, I was not aware of any local language. I knew a bit of Hindi, but literally nothing. And of course English, but definitely no Kannada, and no Punjabi, and no Tamil, and any other language, of course. Especially my other friends like Latoya, the one who I usually travel to India to, she also visited me there as a tourist. And I could really notice that she was sometimes, I mean, I don't want to say jealous, but she saw that the language that I had learned there really helped me, and she was also keen on learning more about the language, so people could not take advantage of her while bargaining. And language is power. I'm gonna keep on saying this in all of my videos, it is the truth. Definitely, if you're living in a country, you gotta learn the language at least a bit. Ta-da! Food. I know these are snacks, but however. I felt that when I was a tourist, I was always scared of eating anything from the street. I mean, street food. Not from the street, but street food wise. And Latoya and me, we were so careful. We would literally not have like gobi Manchurian or chaats or all of that, so like a bit of it. But even after eating golgappe, like pani puri, for the first time I felt like, oh my goodness, what if it's just gonna kill my stomach right now? And that was always such a big fear while traveling. Imagine guys, we would not even drink filter water. What the heck?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
We would not even drink filter water. We would brush our teeth using bottled water. Like, we did not use the water from the tap to brush our teeth. We didn't eat salad, and we did not eat fruits which can't be peeled. And of course, living in India, I ate everything. Whatever comes on the table, I will eat it. I wasn't scared of anything, of course, also because I was living there. I knew if my stomach gets upset, if I really have trouble, I can take a sick leave, worst case scenario. I would definitely just brush my teeth using normal tap water. And oh my goodness, yes, of course I would drink filter water. How else would I have survived? Like, that's so funny thinking about this right now. And I also talked to her on phone today, and we talked about this topic, and I was like, do you remember how careful we were with everything? But of course, you've only got probably 2 weeks, and you don't want to spoil your vacation having a stomach upset that you could have avoided if you had just taken care of the things you eat. And also many families told us, like, just don't eat outside, eat home, eat homemade food. And I can also recommend that. It's anyway the best food you can get. So I think there were no things I felt they were hard to get used to when I was a tourist. Yes, I had a culture shock, no doubt, as anyone who travels from a Western country to India, I suppose, or to any Asian country in general. And the other way around. Okay, guys, it's just a culture shock, right?
Es wirkt gut, Leute, es ist krank. Einfach fahren und dann muss ein bisschen aufpassen. Ja. Kommt ein Bus auf mich zu, kommt ein Bus auf mich zu, kommt ein Bus auf mich zu.
Like, something like this is just not imaginable in Germany. Never. Like,
It's just not possible. Oh my god, oh my god.
Have you watched Final Destination?
So yeah, that was the only thing I faced as a tourist. Like, oh my goodness, there are all autos and the traffic. But living in India, you're gonna get to know a lot of things which you did not know before. And trust me, I hardly doubt that you're gonna get to know this being a tourist in India. But I just want to name a few things which were hard for me to get used to. If you touch someone's feet accidentally, I mean not touch, but you know, like if your feet meet accidentally in the bus, for instance, and of course you have to say sorry because it's gonna cause bad karma, and I know there is a long background, a long story to this. People don't just do it out of fun, of course. But coming from a Western world, it was very unusual for me that every time, even in the school, a kid would just accidentally, you know, like touch my feet or anything, and I would be like, oh my god, sorry. And I always felt so bad. That was definitely a thing I had to get used to. That you have to take off your shoes everywhere, of course, because shoes, I feel, in India are something considered really bad, really dirty. Again, I totally get the point that this kind of belief comes from a time where people thought that if you, for instance, cut your nails in the evening, they might fall somewhere on the ground or under your bed and you cannot find them anymore, or you can also hurt yourself while cutting with the scissor if there is no proper light in the room, okay? Get that point. But for me it was just something different I never heard of. It was just something that I had to get used to and that I had to learn. I think many of my friends who are watching this video probably right now and who have been together with me to India might remember that they were only allowed to wash their clothes in the morning. I'm not talking about washing machine, guys. Okay, we like washed our clothes with our hands. I think that goes hand in hand with the nail cutting point, that they are just worried that maybe something happens to you while you're washing your clothes in the evening. If not, let me know in the comments if there's any other explanation for this. Would be interested. Like, you have to wash your feet because you're wearing sandals and there's always dust around you, so your feet are most probably dirty, so you should wash them. And there's also some sort of respect, I guess, that you're just entering the house and it's clean, you know? I really get that, but thinking about it, like reminding myself, Jenny, you have to wash your feet. I always kept on forgetting about it, and then my host mother would ask, Jenny, did you wash your feet? And I was like, oh, nope. And the last point, which I, as you can see, kept on forgetting, is not using your left hand. I know not all of you might follow this anymore. I know many generations don't even care about it anymore, but I personally have come across a lot of families, a lot of rickshaw drivers, a lot of shop owners who really pay attention to this, like on a serious note. And I would really get very angry feedback, if I can actually say this, using my left hand, especially when giving money. Oh my goodness. And it was so hard for me to keep on reminding myself, don't use your left hand. Even now, like, maybe you've noticed while eating, I was like... It just really takes a lot of time to get that in your mind. But when I came back to Germany, guys, oh my goodness. I was even going to the cash counter in the supermarket. I was about to give her the money using my right hand, and then I just gonna give my, using my left hand, and then I would just give her the money using my right hand. And I was like, oh my god, you're traumatized now. Like, no, I really have this thinking, even sometimes when I just want to buy things. I remember that. I really remember that. Honestly. Toilet. Talking about our hand, I think this is probably the best time to talk about toilet. So, of course, as a tourist, we carry toilet paper, and we would use toilet paper going to the restroom. But well, when I moved to India, And we had also like a preparation seminar going on. I remember that in Kundapur, which I told you about in the other video. And they were also teaching us that, okay, you gotta use your hands and there's not gonna be any toilet paper here in this building. And all of us were like... Maybe a lot of you think, oh my god, this Western girl, she's so arrogant, like she'll be like show off. Oh my god, in our Western world we're not used to that, da 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 da. I literally didn't care. For me it was after all totally normal. You just got used to it, man. As a tourist, well, I saw beautiful temples, I saw mesmerizing architecture, visiting some churches, I went to nice Sikh temples, I saw beautiful mosques. So for me the only point was, hey, these religious places are beautiful. Versus living in India. I know religion is a big topic in India. This is one point I wholeheartedly understood. But what I did not expect is that you come across, not everyone, okay, not everyone, but a few people who are into missionary work and who try to convince you that their religion is the best religion, basically, and that their religion is the right religion. And this is just something that I don't like. I respect each and every religion. I respect any person from any part of the world, no matter where they come from, what their background is, or what their religion is. And I really don't like if people try to force you into something that they truly believe in. You can believe in whatever you believe. I can believe in whatever I want to believe, and someone else can believe in whatever that person wants to believe in. I just came across different people who tried to force me into something that really didn't feel good and really didn't feel right and made me feel upset, and that pressured me so much that I would literally say I mentally suffered from these incidents as well. Yeah, this is all honest talk, guys. Again, we can all, as I said in the other video, we can close our eyes and pretend that it's not there, but it is there. And I think it's there in almost every country, to be honest. But however, so when I was a tourist, of course I came across beggars on the street, and I came across children begging for money, children begging for food. The good thing as a tourist is you see this world that is apparently something you would want to see or something you would want to accept. But then you can always leave that world, you know, like you have probably 2 weeks of experiences, good and bad, and you see poor people. You do see poor people on the street, but then you always have the freedom to buy your ticket, sit in the plane and go back to Germany, and you can just forget about everything that you've seen over there. That's the beauty of being privileged, and that's sad. But when I was living in India, you get confronted with topics such as poverty every day. You are confronted with it. I was working with underprivileged children as well. And then you ask yourself, what do I do? But where do I start and where does it end? Is it a sustainable solution? That is what you have to ask yourself. If you live there, you cannot escape that bubble that you're living in as a tourist. And I think that is something that a lot of Western people should really think about. As a tourist, you only have, of course, limited time. You want to make the best out of your time. You want to see probably big cities or popular places. And of course, you cannot travel entire India, which means you cannot get to know entire India. The thing is that as a tourist, you can only see certain parts of India, which also means that you're restricted to certain parts of the culture. I know there are mostly Indians watching my videos, and I guess all of you guys know that the culture in Karnataka differs a lot from the culture in Punjab, and the culture in Punjab differs a lot from the culture in Kerala, or the culture in Gujarat, or the culture in Bihar, or the culture in Madhya Pradesh, or any other state of India. Or even if you go to Himachal Pradesh, you would not even think that it's India. Seriously, when I showed my grandfather these videos, he was like, oh, that looks like Austria. And I was like, this is India as well. It's so complex. It's a continuous learning process, not just for me, I guess also for Indians. I keep on talking to friends and they're like, Jenny, trust me, we don't even know our own country because it's so huge and there's so much to learn. I think there is nothing wrong in going to a country and just experiencing a culture of a certain city, right? But I think what is more important is the communication afterwards. If you go back to your family and you say, India is like that, Indian families are like that, wrong. Not every Indian family is the same. There are so many cultural differences between a family probably in Mysore and a family in Bangalore, and we're even still in the same state. But when I was living in India, I had the privilege to travel a lot of places. If I'm not wrong, I traveled to 31 places. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a tourist or if you're living in that country, and not even just talking about India, but what is important, and that is what I have learned from my seminars with my organization, is how you talk about it and what kind of words you use and how precisely you describe your memories. If some foreigners are watching this video, don't just stay in 5-star hotels, don't just go to a country, spend the entire day on the pool and say, hey, I was in India. No, experience the culture, live with people, learn from them, stay with them. If possible, stay with them longer than a couple of weeks. This is when you're gonna experience the real life, I guess. Not even then, after a couple of years probably, that will take time. And you will also learn that not everything is flowery, butterflyish and nice. Now I keep on talking, I have to stop myself. Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad Lu, Shukriya, thank you, and bye bye, see you in my next video. Woo!